Salve Maria. What is more important? To give alms to the poor, to care for the sick, to do a favor for a friend or a neighbor who is in need, or charity? You're probably thinking to yourself, well, Brother Morgan, all of those things that you just mentioned, aren't they all acts of charity? They are all acts of charity, but they are not always done with the true spirit of charity. What is true charity? Saint Bernardine of Siena has a special counsel for each one of us today. But first, don't forget, if you haven't done so already, to subscribe to our channel and of course, share this video with your friends and family. Saint Bernardine of Siena was one of the great preachers of the 15th century. He was a Franciscan friar and he preached all over Italy. But before he became a preacher, before he became a Franciscan, he joined the Confraternity of Our Lady when he was 17. And he dedicated his early years to works of charity. Soon afterwards, a great plague, which had broken out in Italy, finally reached his town of Siena and was the cause of many sicknesses, many illnesses, and many deaths. Saint Bernardine, what did he do? He showed up at the hospital door and volunteered to help care for the sick and to bury the dead. But in those times, going into the hospital meant facing death. Most likely, he would not come out alive. Saint Bernardine, he wasn't thinking about himself. He was acting out of charity, out of love for God. He worked there for 4 months, day and night. What ended up happening? He became ill. For over 4 months, he lay bedridden, hovering between life and death. Later on in his life, Saint Bernardine gave a counsel to somebody. He said, whatever you have to do it for the love of God, for the glory of God, and with perfect charity. In this way, God will show you what is convenient to say and to do. So if we want to always have God by our side, if we want to be assured that we are doing what God wants us to do, that we are acting out of true love for God and not out of love for self, let us do everything for His greater glory. Somebody also asked him for counsel. He said, Saint Bernardine, my sermons, they don't convert anybody. Nobody shows up. The churches are empty. What is your secret? Because Saint Bernardine, when he would preach, thousands and thousands of people would flock to his sermons. And all of them would leave crying and weeping for their sins. So much that a custom began. At the end of his sermons, a great bonfire was made and everybody would throw their sinful objects into the fire and burn them. For example, in the city he also preached in Poland, a man who made a living off of gambling cards came up to Saint Bernardine. He said, I'm going broke. I'm becoming poor. Nobody is buying my gambling cards anymore. And Saint Bernardine said, well, why don't you start making holy cards of Jesus? The man did so, and he became much richer than when he was making gambling cards. But why did Saint Bernardine have such great success? He told the preacher, he said, the rule is the following. Ever since I started preaching, ever since I started this practice, I never pronounced a single word that was not in honor or praise of God. Very simple. Saint Bernardine, he wasn't preaching to show off or to gain the esteem of family members or friends or to look good before society. No, he was acting out of true love for God. He preached so that people would return to the church, so that people would turn from their evil habits or vices. That was the secret of Saint Bernardine. Always preached out of love for God. When he was a boy, he did acts of charity, forgetting himself even to the degree of putting his own life at risk. Later on, he preached not to receive applauses, but to bring souls back to God. May He grant us this grace to always practice true charity. And in this way, we will glorify God and we will be instruments of His for the conversion of souls. Salve Maria.
If you like this video, press the like button and leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any of our videos.